Okay, so what I'm going to show you is working with characters and just a couple of quick pointers with it. First thing you want to do is design your layout and the background and all of that stuff, and determine where your character is going to be placed, and try to keep them in a consistent location so that you don't the character doesn't go from one size to the next size or any of that stuff. I'm sure there are reasons why you may want to do that, but in this particular case we'll discuss actually just working with the character in one location. So what I want to do is just assume that you've got this real estate here, and let me drop in just to kind of show you that's kind of the character space. So I'll drop that behind her, move to the back. There. Now you've got kind of an idea. This is the space that you don't want any of your information to get into. The text and graphics and all that stuff we'll have over here. You'll see that as she extends her arm, like in this particular slide, that you don't want your text to get any further over than that. So with that, I will copy that, just Control C, and I'll paste it. Control V, Control V, and one more here. Screen's not catching up with me. That figures. So let's move that to the back. Send to back. Send to back. Send to back. And one more time. Send that to the back. I think that's everything. So now that gives you a visual representation of where your text and graphics and imagery is going to be. So let's assume I just want to insert, let me drop in a photo from somewhere. Let's go with ECG. And first thing I come across, this looks cute, we'll just use it. So I know that I don't want to get inside this space. Now obviously you could, if you wanted to create the graphic like this, create the separation of the screen, you're welcome to do that. Or if you wanted to, later on you can just take this background out, but it's just there to use as a representation to show you. The first thing you want to do is decide where that character is going to be and make sure none of your assets over here infringe on the character space, and that way you won't have any issues. Now granted, you can have that stuff come over into the character space, but keep in mind that when you switch like to this particular slide, that you want to make sure that it's not, her hand is not covering up something, unless that's your intention. Now the next thing is how to create each one of these, and so that let's do a quick preview of this. I'm just going to preview the entire project, and you'll notice that as we go from slide to slide, that the character moves very little. You can't tell really much difference other than the poses that have been changed, and I'll show you how I did that. So we'll start with, let's just start with a new presentation, and I don't want to save. So we're going to start there, and first thing I want to do is I want to insert my character, and there she is. So we'll choose the pose we want, and let's start with this pose. We'll insert her. And this is where, when you first put your character in, that's where you decide what you want to do as far as your space and all of that stuff. If I want to use a smaller character, then that's fine. Just create your character first and use this corner to drag, and that will prevent you from messing up the aspects. So if you use a corner, now obviously if you drag here, you can make her wider or whatever, and obviously that takes her out, so we want to undo that. Just use your corners here, and just for visual, I want to make her full size. I want to take up this whole screen. Alright, so now we're going to insert, whoops, wrong one. We want to go to slides, and I want to put in a new slide. So there, it's blank. So this is how I maintain their character aspect and ratios. So now I'm going to, let me do it here so you can see. Copy, go to the new slide, and just simply paste. And you'll notice from one slide to the next, she does not move. Now if I want to change her pose, I just right click on her, go to replace pose, from content library, go to your pose, and let's put her hands on her hips like this, and insert. And that changed it. So now you'll see there's a little bit of a jump from here to here, and if that's important to you, which in this particular case may be for me, then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to align the two objects. But what's important is the size of the object has not changed. So they're the exact same size and aspect ratio. It's just this one is off-centered a little bit, so I'm going to fix that. So I need to shift this one to the left just a little bit. And this is, I don't know an exact way to fix this. This is how I do it. You can see it's a little better. And I'm going to shift it a couple more. Still a little tiny jump, being picky here. There we go. There we are. And you can do that with any additional characters. So if I want to insert a new slide, just insert a new slide. Again, I'm going to copy, which I did Control C, but I'll do it here again, and then just paste it. And again, to change her pose, we just simply change the pose. Go to pose, and in this particular case, let's use one of these. There we go. And then from here to there, again, a little bit of a jump. So I'll make some changes here. Let's see, this one needs to come back to the right just a little bit. There we go. So now we go from this character to that character to that character, and they're all the exact same size, so you don't have any aspect issues. And that's how you do it.